Jesus Christ, you people suck.
Wow.
Wolverine wanted to be in.
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady.
But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
Alright, it's time for another week. N4G Radio. This is episode 659 for July 12th, 2021. And on the show this week, we got the Wombat.
Yep.
We got Drew.
Here.
And we got Anthony.
Oh, shit, I'm still asleep, apparently.
Oh, we woke him up.
Welcome to the party.
Zoned out of it, boys.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to your nap. But do you want to talk about video games so you can take a nap?
Sure. Finished Famicom Detective Club. Obviously, there's two parts. I finished one of them. Man, the story is amazing for a game that came out in 1988, 89. The gameplay, however, is a game, specifically a visual novel from 1988, 1989.
Oof.
It is, yeah. The biggest issue I have is that conversations with other characters go something like this. Tell me about the car. And then they give a line of dialogue. And then you have to ask about the car again to get more dialogue on the car. Now, my assumption, based on just knowing how old discs had to be read, I'm wondering if that's because it was a disc system game and it was loading the dialogue. Because otherwise I can't figure out why you would have to do that.
That's probably a fair assumption.
Yeah. But the story is fantastic. By far one of the best I've played in a visual novel. And
Something, boss.
man, it's so good because, I mean, I've kind of outed myself multiple times that I try to figure out what's happening instead of just letting the plot take me there. So if I ever guess it right, I'm like, this sucks, right? And this game did it so well that I went, shit, I should have thought about that, but like the way that it loops together, fuck man, it was so good. And the ending sequence is actually terrifying in a way that I wasn't expecting. Very well done. It's kind of odd because I think so I played originally the second game because they released a game and then they released a prequel. And I played the prequel first, but I want to say that they are selling it in a way that this is the game. The prequel is what you actually play first this time. So it's the first game because it leads into the second game better, which would have been the first game. It's very odd. They've said one of the team members that worked on it said that they hope they can do more, and as long as they fix certain elements that we've moved away from in visual novels, I would love to play more because the writing is fantastic. And I went back because there's a sequence, I won't tell where it is, because I have played both games. I just only finished one of them. There's a moment where I'm having a conversation with someone, and it's a very generic sort of visual novel look, like the person's face in front of me and all the dialogue options on the side, and they're talking, and as they were talking, someone peeked out from behind the wall and was listening in, and I could see it, and then I could bring it up after they were done talking. And I went, that was done so creepily. I wonder if it's in the original versions. And sure enough, on the Super Famicom and the Famicom disk system, because this game got remade in the 90s, it's there. Like, they did this, like, all these things that I wouldn't have expected for the time, and I know it's 89, 88, 89, but things that even Ace Attorney doesn't do, which is probably the first visual novel I played. They were doing it back then, so it's really well done. It's just unfortunate that the gameplay kind of sucks. So it's really hard to kind of be like, well, play the game, because the game is the worst part of this. But
it's old.
And that's just it. Like, I think they're so truthful to the original source that it's both a benefit to the original, like, it shows off how good the original was, and unfortunately shows how far we've come too. Other than that, I've went back to Super Mario Odyssey, and man, that's just a good game. I don't know what else to add. I'm just cleaning up moons now, going location by location to get more.
Get more moons. There's only like 3,000 in that game.
Yeah, yeah. I'm at 400 something.
Yeah, I forget what the official number is. Like, isn't it like 800?
It's 700 something.
Yeah.
I think it's 700 before you have to start buying moons to cap it out at 999.
So ridiculous.
Which I don't care about at that point. Also, one thing, I did buy Balan Wonderworld because it's on Steam sale.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs well for a game that said it wouldn't run on my PC. I was like, fuck it, let's give it a shot. And clearly, Can You Run It was just trying to keep me away from it. The game plays better than the demo showed off. Holy shit. That demo probably did more damage to that game than the actual game itself.
Bad?
Sorry?
What made it so bad?
It was so slow.
Didn't you play the demo? Didn't you play the demo on the Switch?
Me?
Yeah, and I touched a bit of it on the Xbox, but
okay. I know the Switch version's like really, really bad.
The Switch version was terrible bad. Yeah, that was brutal. Like, I don't get sick looking at the backgrounds like I did in the Switch version. And now that might have been fixed between the demo. The reason why I picked it up, though, was there's a YouTuber, his name is Austin Eruption, and he did a video on it, and he platinumed that game kind of, like, at first he joked about it, and then he says, and then I did it. And, man, it feels like Yuji Naka, like, lost his mind while making this game. Because seeing what he showed off in his video, man, there's like these huge platforming sections that you don't get to do until you finish the game. And then when you get to do them, they're huge and really well done. There's a secret hard mode that you get by killing 10 enemies in a row without taking damage. And as soon as you take a hit, you are out of hard mode again. Like, all this weird stuff that, like, there's something fascinating about that weird game that I'm like, yeah, $20 is as high as I'm willing to pay for it. Because I still want like $50 for it on disc. It went down for a sale to like $35, and I went, absolutely not. Like, did you know, Ken, that there are secret areas where you can see people like lounging about, like the characters from the stages that disappear?
Yeah, it's there's some creepy shit in that game.
Yeah, it's just like it's like you're backstage, and when they see you, they disappear, but not in the same way that they disappear when you're going through the stages and stuff. And I went, "What? This game seems to be a fever dream, and I just want to take part in it."
Yeah, that's pretty
And,
much
like,
what it is.
And honestly, like playing it on the PC and not the Switch, because that's where I did spend more time. I was like, yeah, this is pretty decent for the problem is that they wanted full price for this. I think more than anything, like if this had come out as an experimental little game, I think people would have been less harsh. They'd still be harsh. It's the internet, but I mean that demo should not have come out though. That's the biggest fault. That demo was so bad. Oh, so yeah, that's where I spent my time. Mostly Mario Odyssey after finishing Famicom Detective Clubs.
All right. Well, I'll move on to Drew.
Okay. Well, I can finally talk about the game that I reviewed. I've had it for a couple of weeks, which is Monster Hunter Stories 2. The Wings of Ruin. I'd never played the first one. In fact, I'm going to be real honest with you. I didn't even know the first one existed until I saw this announcement.
Was that on 3DS?
It's on 3DS.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I watched some gameplay videos of it and stuff like that. There was a lot of promotion about this game. Like, Capcom's pushing it pretty hard. But yeah, it is a turn-based role-playing game. It is a combination of a few things. I put it in my tagline. It is a combination of Monster Hunter, Pokemon, a little bit of Monster Rancher, which is hard to say. Yeah.
Can you put CDs in?
No.
Damn.
And Persona. It feels a little bit like a combo of all that. Because while it's a turn-based role-playing game, it is really reliant on the rock, paper, scissors format. And there are only really 3 that you can choose from. Strong, technical, and speed attacks. Strong beats technical, technical beats speed, speed beats power. And that's the primary hook to the battles. So once you fight a monster, let's say a Anjanath, the Anjanath's usually going to go with a power attack, so you need to go ahead and just start doing speed attacks. Now, there's more nuance to it. So not only are you doing the rock, paper, scissors thing, they throw in a lot of Monster Hunter stuff in there. So anybody who's ever played Monster Hunter before knows that, like, if you're attacking, you can choose where to attack the monster. The head, the tail, the body, that kind of thing. And if you go for the head, it's better to use a blunt type weapon. So you can switch weapons in the middle of combat, and you don't lose a turn or anything like that. You just switch weapons. So they have 6 weapons in all. They have the slashing type weapons, which are the greatsword and the sword and shield. You have the blunt weapons, which are the hunting horn and the hammer. And then you have the pierce weapons, which are the bow and arrow and the gun lance. And depending on the situation, depending on the part that you're attacking the monster at, you can do more damage based on, what weapon you're using. On top of that, each weapon, just like in Monster Hunter, plays differently. So the greatsword, you have skills that you first have to use a skill to use a more powerful skill. So it's basically like you're charging up a combo meter. Same way goes with the gun lance. The gun lance uses ammo. Every time you win a clash with a monster, so if you beat them, if they use a power attack and you use a speed attack, you win, you get more ammo for your gun lance. So it depends on the type of weapon that you're using. There's a full crafting system in this game. So every time you beat a monster, you get the materials from it. You can go back to town, craft new weapons and armor, and each have like weaknesses and strengths and different types of. It's definitely like fire type, water type, electric type. So it has that Pokemon feel in it too, on top of the fact that you now fight alongside with other monsters. So you play as a rider in this game, And instead of hunting monsters, you befriend the monsters. And you can raise them up and train them by going to monster dens. So while you're going around the overworld, there are dens everywhere. And you can go into a den, find a monster nest, and get eggs. You take the eggs back to town, hatch the egg. Now you have a monster that you can raise and train to fight alongside you. And then the Persona stuff comes in by you can fuse monsters together to bring certain abilities from a monster that you don't need over to a monster that you do want to use.
I thought you were going to say that it was Persona as in, like, the monsters are hanging out at school having chit-chats.
No, nothing like that. But this is definitely a story-driven game. It's very focused on that. There's a lot of cutscenes. The cutscenes are really nice. It's a really, really fun game. There's a few issues with it. The first one being that once you get the combat down, it gets a little monotonous. Turn-based role-playing games always kind of fall into that because there's just not much variant that comes along. Sure, when you meet a new monster that you haven't fought before, you know nothing about it. You don't know what kind of attacks it has. You don't know what type it is. You don't know anything like that. So once you fight it, it kind of updates your Monstropedia, where you can go back and look and see what kind of monster it is, what the element is, all that stuff. But there is a really nice mechanic in the game where you can speed up the combat up to 3 times the speed, so you can kind of rush through it. Later on, you can run into it feels like Earthbound. When you run into a monster that you're just so high level you can just beat it instantly, you can just press a button and say, just finish this battle. So they try to remedy the monotony a little bit, but it still sets in to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to avoid these monsters instead of just running up to them and fighting them. But the min-maxing of not only the weapons that you're crafting, but also the skills that your monsters have by combining monsters together, it's a RPG player's dream. There's so many options there. There is also a co-op mode. You cannot progress the story in the co-op mode, but you can go online with other people and do expedition quests, which is basically just wander the map and finish a quest that gets you some materials. Everything that you earn there, you can bring back into your game. And it's a long game. Like it's legit. This is a pretty high production game that I think a lot of people would enjoy. The only technical issue is I'm playing on the Switch. It's also on the PC as well.
Is it on the PC now, or is it coming
yes.
to the PC?
No, it released the same day on PC.
Okay, I thought it was coming later.
No, that's Rise. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PC later, I think in early 2022.
Gotcha.
But the Switch version, when you play in handheld mode, it is totally fine. You put that sucker in docked mode, and you're going to see some dicey frame rates.
It must change the resolution when it goes up there.
It does. It ups the resolution, and when you're running around that overworld, it looks kind of rough sometimes. It really does.
Doesn't shock me. The Switch is, yeah.
Yeah. But the good thing is, if you get that new Switch...
Wait, save it for the news! Save it for the news!
It's going to do the exact same thing because it's nothing.
God damn it! Save it for the news!
That joke. So I looked it up, Drew, because I was curious. The original Monster Hunter Stories has an anime adaptation.
Okay.
So you can watch it if you wanted to. I think it's more for kids, but
Sure.
It also is on Android and iOS.
The game?
The first one, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. In Japan, phones are king.
Yeah, I just didn't even realize that. I knew about the anime because I think the anime came out like the year after and people were talking about it. But all I remember from the first game is that's where all the amiibos came out. and I think they may have been Japan only.
I swear to God, I thought you were going to say amoebas, and I was confused.
Remember Amiibos?
What?
Do you remember Amiibos?
I do. They made new amiibos for Monster Hunter, I think. Right?
Or Rise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, for stories.
And this game, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
they
new
made some
Amiibo.
for those? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
It's,
still making them.
The whatever the big winged monster that you ride.
Probably a
Amiibo for
Rathalos.
That's probably what it is. Yeah. It looks different than the normal Rathalos I'm used to, but
Yeah, this one is a flightless Rathalos.
There's an
Oh.
amiibo for Skyward Sword for fast travel, remember?
That's right. How could I forget that? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not playing that game.
And then they're making amiibos for Metroid Dread, too, I think.
yep, they are. They've already showed them.
I mean,
They're
amiibos
reprinting.
Yeah.
They're reprinting like the Ridley one.
I mean, the Ridley one
Amiibos.
was rad, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, they had a bunch of amiibos for. I shouldn't say a bunch. They had several amiibos for Monster Hunter Rise as well.
Yep.
They had a Palamute amiibo. They had a Palico amiibo. They had some other monster, whatever the monster that's on the cover of that game.
So the Magnamalo.
Yeah, they had a.
I mean, you're not even
had a-
speaking English. I don't understand your words.
I know the flagpole monster for Monster Hunter Rise. I've fought it 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
I didn't know they made them for Rise.
Yeah, I mean, they've seemed to make them for every big Nintendo, pushed game.
Gotcha. Well, this is definitely one of them. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a legit pretty good game. I reviewed it. Like I said, the gameplay loop is decent, but sometimes that combat just lasts a little bit too long. And then, obviously I wanted to play this on my TV, and that frame rate gets rough at times. Like it's real rough sometimes. But other than that, it's actually a really solid game. Turn-based RPG players will probably have a lot of fun with this game. And if you're a Monster Hunter fan, you know a lot more about this game than what you think. Because, the first time I ran into an Anjanath, I knew exactly what to do. When he got pissed off, I hit him in the head with a hammer, and you can cut his tail off. And it's like, it was like, okay, I get, it's got enough Monster Hunter in it for the veteran like me to understand I know what I need to do in this situation. It's just it's turn-based. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
My review will be up this week. Other than that, I played some Yakuza 2, Kiwami. Once again, that game, I don't know how Matt feels about it, but that game plays way, way better than any game I've played of Yakuza. They have finally made the engine where it doesn't feel like a stiff wreck. So
remind me again, because I thought now that I have an Xbox, I thought about maybe trying to play some of the Yakuza games.
okay,
Remind me again where I'm supposed to start. Which
okay.
game I'm
Zero.
supposed to start with?
If you want to go via the story, you
Yes.
start with Yakuza 0, and you
Okay.
go from there.
Well, what's after Yakuza 0? Kiwami?
Kiwami.
Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of the first game.
Okay, so it goes 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, and then 3.
3, 4,
Got
5,
it.
6. Yep.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I thought about trying to maybe play those again. I tried to play them, forever ago. Whenever the first Yakuza game that came out over here came out, I don't even
One.
remember. Yeah. Oh, is that the first
PS2?
that one come out over here?
Yeah, the
PS2,
first
yeah.
Yeah,
PS2.
whichever one it was on PS2, and I couldn't get into it. But I
It's still
figure
hard
now.
to get into. The first one's still hard to get into.
Zero is amazing, though.
I was gonna
Yeah, I'll give 0 a shot and see if I like it. I
didn't help-
played
oh,
the
sorry.
first one because someone told me it was like Grand Theft Auto in Japan.
That's what everybody told
That's-
everybody.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say that was my issue with it. I'm like, this is not like Grand Theft
It's
Auto at all. But
nothing
as soon
like
as you
Grand
approach
Theft
it,
Auto.
yeah, as soon as you approach it as an RPG, it makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I'll give I've been meaning to go back and give it another shot, and like I mentioned before, even though I've had an Xbox in my house for years, I haven't been the one playing it. So I lost my headset. I've missed out on a lot of Xbox games over the years. So my plan now that I've got the Series X is to go back and play games that I could have been playing on my Xbox for the last year and a half or two. Like Ori, I need to go back and play the Ori games as well because I never played those.
Oh, they're so good.
But if you're going to play
Yeah.
Yakuza 0, you better carve out about 35 hours.
That's a minimum. Shit.
Yeah, I know.
Again,
Gets-
That's the other challenge is I feel like I'm so far behind that it's hard to even start.
Knowing Ryan, he's going to end up at the batting cages.
oh god,
Yeah.
I'll spend a whole
Anything
bunch
to
of time
do
at
it
the batting
again.
cages if that's an option.
yeah, you go there multiple times.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, I played some Yakuza 2 Kiwami, or Yakuza Kiwami 2, I think's how you say it.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
anyway, but yeah, playing that, we delayed it a week. There was a lot going on last week, and we just didn't record. So we're going to start that next week. And I jumped. So because I'm already caught up on Yakuza. I don't know what else to play in my free time. I jumped back into Diablo 3 on Xbox because I didn't get all the achievements for it.
Oh, jeez.
So I've got all the achievements on the PC version. I've got all the trophies on the PlayStation version. I'm going to get all the achievements on the not 360, the Xbox version.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
That-
how you know that you love a game.
That I own it on so many platforms. I just don't own it on Switch. That's it.
I actually own it on Switch. I think I've played it twice.
It's
It's
an
fine.
amazing game.
It's fine
It's
on
amazing.
Switch. Yeah, it's fine.
You know they've changed it, right?
Changed what?
Have you heard that the biggest change they did? The last update they did, you can now equip your followers, like the Templar,
Mhm.
with full armor.
Ooh,
You can-
fancy.
Instead of just giving them a character thing and then a weapon. No, you can now give them helmet, chest piece, everything.
I mean, I like Diablo 3, but I think the 300 to 400 hours I put into it, I'm done. I really have no desire to go back to it.
I kinda am, but there's like 3 achievements that I need to get the 1,000 points.
I just don't care.
And I'm just like, I can do this. I'm working on a character right now in hardcore mode. You got to get a hardcore character to level 70, which I'm already at like level 50. And there's a couple of ones like do 500 bounties. Easy. I can do that. That just takes a little bit of time.
I don't have time to play Diablo 3 when I'm spending all my time playing Overwatch and ignoring the rest of my backlog.
Exactly. So I mean, I have replaced a Blizzard game with another Blizzard game. So
Fucking
I-
Blizzard.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of done with Overwatch.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
I
how I
just
feel about
think-
Diablo. Yeah, I just don't want to play it anymore.
I don't know. Like I can't bring myself to play it anymore.
I wish
just-
I wish I could do that because then I could go work on my backlog. But like every time I sit down to game, I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna play for like an hour. I could play like some Greedfall. I could go back to play some Judgment. I could go back to Yakuza, and then I hop into some matches, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
Is Judgment connected to the Yakuza series?
It's just made by the same people.
It's
Okay.
in the same universe, but I don't think it is.
There's a
connected
couple
to it.
Easter eggs in there, but
Okay. But
Yeah.
it's not a story. The story's not connected.
no. In fact, it
Okay.
takes place like later, I think.
It takes place later, but in the same town.
Yeah, it's in Kamurocho. So,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
anything else, Drew?
Not that I can think of. Just a lot of Monster Hunter stories too, and playing Diablo and Yakuza. That's about it.
Diablo. All right, Wombat.
So I've been I haven't had a chance to play much of anything this week. It's been a really crazy week. But I played a little bit more MLB The Show 21. And yeah, I mean, the more I play it, the more I think I like 20 better. I can't really explain that comment, other than to say I just feel like most everything in the game I feel like was better in the last one. So I don't know. I'll keep playing it because it's MLB's show, but I wish that if they were going to branch out and release this on other platforms, I wish they would have done it last year, because last year's game was a much better. It would have been a much better, I think, first experience for a lot of people. But then again,
Xbox
you're an
players haven't had a baseball game in God knows how long,
that's
so
what
they
I
don't
was gonna
care.
say. Yeah, so they don't care, and they don't have a baseline. So, but anyway, I played. What else did I play? I played a little bit of MechWarrior 5, and I can't really get into it. I have loved MechWarrior games in the past, but I just can't get into this one. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another try down the line, but I'm not enjoying it so far. Played some NBA 2K21. Not much, just a little bit. And then I played a decent amount more of Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. I was telling Kim before the show started that the more I play of the game, the more disappointed I get. Not because it keeps getting worse, but because so many of the other things around the gameplay in this game are so good. I really want to like this game, not just because I'm so invested in the characters and the setting, but because like the environments are awesome. They look fantastic. The writing is good. The characters are in line with their what do you call it? The characterization matches the books. So there's so many pieces of this game that I want to like, but man, it just does not play well. It just doesn't. And maybe there's a chance that they fix it, and that would be awesome. But man, it sucks when you're getting ganged up on by a whole bunch of monsters, and you start an attack, and it's just like you got no idea where you're going to end up. So you start an attack combo, and it's just as likely that you're going to end up, 5 feet away from everybody, still spinning in the air and swinging your swords around, not hitting anybody, as you are actually damaging a monster. So, Dritz has a power in the game where he's got knives like spinning around him. It's the most useful power that's ever existed in any video game ever, because it's the only way you can guarantee you're going to hit the people around you. It's frustrating because I really want this game to be good, and so many of the other pieces are really good. Visually, it looks awesome. The characters look great. The monsters look great. The environments look great. It plays terrible. I shouldn't say terrible. It's frustrating to play. That's the way I'll put it. It also does not scale well for being a solo player. Especially some of the boss encounters, you can tell were built for 4-player co-op, and they're not scaled if you're playing by yourself. So you end up getting attacked from a whole bunch of different directions that you can't see, that if you had multiple people playing with you, they could be, taking care of different enemies. But by yourself, there's no good method for, it would almost be like you would almost want to do kind of what you can do in a good MMO, where you can draw aggro off a couple enemies at once and take care of them, and then manage your threats but you can't. It's, at least with Dritz, and I haven't really played the other characters yet because you only level one character at a time, so none of your levels or anything like that carry over if you start a new character. And so I haven't played anybody else yet. But at least with Dritz, he doesn't have the power he's got with the knives spinning around him is a pretty good crowd control power, but it also requires you to be pretty close. And so you I don't know, it's not balanced well. So if you're thinking about playing it by yourself, just be warned that it's clearly not really meant for that. So that's a little frustrating too, because I soloed the original Dark Alliance games, and I played them obviously co-op as well online, but in addition I soloed them, and they were perfectly fine to play solo. Diablo as well. Diablo you can play solo easily. And this game just doesn't do that well enough. So overall it's frustrating, but I'm still going to keep playing it because it's just an opportunity for me to experience another story in this universe. And like I said, I'm treating it as a free-to-play Dritz game, and that's enough for me.
There's a couple of things I want to mention with that. I believe the word you're looking for, Ryan, was crowd control abilities is what you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah.
And on top of that, I did watch one of my old roommates, went over to one of my old roommates' place this weekend and watched him play some of that and said, man, that looks fucking boring. I know, it's just like...
Yeah, it's very repetitive. And I mean, the loot's not great. It's okay. It's not great. Yeah, it's not, I don't know. It's like they tried to combine the old Dark Alliance games, which were much more Diablo-like. They tried to combine it with like a character action game. And so you've got your characters out there flipping around and doing combos like they're Dante from Devil May Cry in the middle of a Diablo game. And it just, I don't know, it doesn't line up as well as I'm sure they hoped.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing because again, they nailed the setting, they nailed the characters. It's written by the same guy that wrote the books, so it's just got so much going for it that it's disappointing they didn't really stick the landing.
You know who they should have got to make it?
Who?
The guys that made Darksiders 2.
Yeah, they absolutely should have. That would have been a much better game.
Why not maybe Snowblind?
Snowblind doesn't exist anymore, do they?
I thought they did. Did they get shut down?
I don't think they necessarily maybe got shut down, but I don't think it's the same team.
What
Maybe
really would have been helpful here is you can't make a game about the companions unless you're going to make it co-op, just because of the nature of the story. I mean, you could make a solo Dritz game, but it would be if you were going to include the rest of the companions, you pretty much have to make it a co-op game. But there should have been a better balance, and I can't agree with you that I think a game more like Darksiders 2 would have probably fit it a little better, and you just add co-op to that style of game. And then the other thing is, I do kind of wish, and I'm probably asking for too much here based on what we ended up getting, but it would have been nice to have AI controlled companions as well.
And the way they program the enemies, I would hate to see the AI.
Yeah, I know.
Kidding.
That's the challenge is it just, I don't know. There's a disconnect because in a lot of the menu dialogue, it makes it clear that these are battles that the companions are fighting together, which makes sense based on the books. But then you get into the actual level and it's just the character you're controlling. I mean, even if they would have had, because there are times in the books where they split up and Dritz will scout, and the other characters will do different things. Even if they had done different moments within the level. If you're playing solo, where one of the other characters, just pops in and you see him hitting or killing some people in the background or something, it would have been a step up of what we got. But again, if I just consider it a free-to-play game, because that's what it was to me, I didn't pay $1 for it, then I can get enough enjoyment out of it to sate me for now.
I think it
was funny though, because my my son was watching me play it, and he was asking me questions, and then he sees me fighting or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, wait a minute, don't you have a Funko Pop of that guy upstairs?" I said, "Yes, I do."
I think it's very hilarious and telling that you name drop the one character, but everybody else, the other three companions, are just the other players.
Well, I'm not playing as them right now, so it's
I feel like
Bruno,
nobody ever
Wolfgar,
mentions
and Cadbury.
nobody ever mentions their names.
Well,
Well,
the books.
Dritz
the
is the
books-
main character of the books.
Yeah.
And the books are called The Legend of Dritz. So it's like the stories center around him generally. And anytime there's really solo things happening, 90% of the time they're happening around Dritz. Now there are some times where later in the books where you follow Wolfgar solo and you follow Cadbury solo in a couple of the books. For parts of a couple of the books, I should say. But I mean, Dritz is the main character. So, and he's the only one that most people recognize if they haven't read the books.
All right, Cadbury is like the most fantasy-ass fantasy name in the history of fantasy names.
Get this, she's a human who was adopted by a dwarf.
Also, every time you say Dritz, I think of the drizzle.
And Wolfgar, also adopted by a dwarf after he captured him on the battlefield and forced him to be his slave for several years. And he's 7 foot tall.
Oh, that
It's
must
a
have been the
barbarian.
character I played. The dude with the big hammer.
Yeah, that's Wolfgar.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one I played.
So, just to let
He
you
was
know,
actually, so funny story, sorry, just to digress for a second. Wolfgar was supposed to be the main character of the books. And if you read The Crystal Shard, which is the first book, it's pretty clear that Wolfgar is supposed to be the main character. But everybody thought Dritz was so cool that he ended up going back and writing 3 books that were just about his backstory, and then it was all over from there. He was the main character at that point.
The way you worded that made it sound like Dritz went back and wrote the books.
He did, yes, by himself.
He's like, I'm cool. I'm gonna write my own books.
Yeah. So if there was a main character 2.0 in the series, it would be Wolfgar. So you played as main character 2.0.
Awesome. I always wanted to be main character 2.0. Drew, what were you gonna say?
Snowblind merged in with Monolith Productions in 2012.
Monolith. What are they doing now?
They did
The last game they did was Lord of the Rings.
War in the
What's it
North.
called?
War of the
No.
North.
Monolith? Monolith was the other one, the other series.
Oh, you're talking about the Shadow of War.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that was the last game they did.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah,
I know that
but
team.
Snowblind did War in the North, which was a lot like the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games.
Yeah, back they also did the Champions of Norath.
Mm-hmm.
Which was great.
Yeah, they made great games that nobody bought, and now we can't get those games anymore.
War in
So
the
if
North
you
was the
wanna-
last one. So
We
there you
got
go.
2 Champions of Norath games.
Yeah, but that was how many years? Like 20 years ago.
It was. It was a long time ago. That's true.
Also, if you want to know how popular Dritz is, there's usually rules about making dark elves when you play D&D because the DMs don't want to deal with you just playing as Dritz.
Blitz.
Yeah. Well, and he's like his entire thing is that he is completely different from every other dark elf except maybe 1 or 2. So yeah, I can imagine that would be frustrating if you played actual D&D.
Who's the really popular D&D guy that has the gerbil?
What?
Oh, that's Minsk
Yeah,
from Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
we're having the Monster Hunter conversation again. Y'all are saying fucking words, but I don't understand them.
You're just
Yeah, and,
uncultured. Ken.
do you remember the hamster's name?
No.
Boo is the hamster.
Boo.
Yeah.
Because he used to throw it at him.
Yeah, voiced in the Baldur's Gate games by Jim Cummings, who also does the voice for Tigger.
Oh, there you go.
And Darkwing Duck, I think. Minsk has made his way into just about every Dungeons and Dragons property at this point. I was reading I bought a bunch or a bulk of D&D comics off of Humble Bundle, and he's in a couple of them. Just makes appearances in a couple of them. He's a pretty. You're right. He's a pretty popular character.
Yeah, I remember him specifically.
Baldur's Gate games are still great. They still hold up. I just played back through both of them a couple years ago, and they still play well.
What was he, a fighter?
What's that?
Minsk. Was he a fighter?
I think technically he's a ranger.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in the Baldur's Gate games, you can really kind of do whatever you want with the characters if you want to play them differently, you can. But
Yeah.
I think technically he's a ranger.
Gotcha.
All right.
you
Anything
go.
else?
No, that's it.
All right. I'll wrap this bitch up. I played Mario Golf finally.
Look at that.
Yeah. I haven't played like I didn't jump into the like career
Everybody's
mode.
golf. Oh,
I didn't jump into the career. I always start. I wanted to check it out like mechanically, like how's it play, and
Yep.
that version of it's really good. Like everything about it feels like what you remember, what you love from stuff like Mario Golf, stuff like Hot Shots Golf. It just feels and plays really well. I like the like that each character has like their own super move. So as you build up, making good shots and getting good ons and fairway shots and things like that, you'll build up this meter and then you can like do this super shot. I thought that was pretty cool. It's unique for each character. There is a very severe lack of courses. I think there's 5. I want to say
there's 4.
4. It seemed like there were more in the menu. Like there's 3 at the beginning and then there's like a bunch of unlockable ones.
I just that was the thing that kept me. I was day one for this game. I absolutely love Mario Golf. I love Everybody's Golf or Hot Shots Golf. Like I love the arcade golf games. And when I read a review and it was like, yeah, there's only 4 courses in this entire game. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm holding off. But the problem is this game will never go down in price. 'Cause
No,
it's a game.
Nintendo games never go. Like the lowest it'll ever get is $40.
I mean, you're looking
Say,
at this point, you're looking at the Mario Golf game that's on the 3DS has more courses than the one on the Switch.
Well, yeah, that's because it's like back in the day when they made
What,
bigger
4
games.
years ago? 5
Yeah.
years ago?
That was back in the
I mean,
day. We'll talk about
I just-
Nintendo and their ability to get away with things later. But
I'm just not going to buy it. I'm sorry.
I don't blame
was-
you. Like I
I
got
was
it.
really excited. I was like, I love those games.
Yeah, and it still plays wonderfully, but it's like you said, the character. I mean, there's a good amount of characters. And
Yeah,
it's-
but I mean, you can play a different character, but you're still playing the same course.
Of course you are. A course is a course, of course.
I'm trying to be disappointed, and you're cracking jokes.
I apologize.
No,
how
it's
dare
fine.
you not take this seriously?
It's
Okay,
Mario
so
Golf. That
Arcade
shit is the
golf
most.
game with plumbers in it.
Yeah, it's very serious things. But no, it does play really well. But yeah, the lack of content is very big, and I keep hearing people talk about this mode. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in the like career.
Golf.
Not that fucking. See, you're not taking it seriously now.
That's like the big mode everybody's talking about, speed golf.
No,
Yeah,
speed
Speed
golf
got cut
wasn't
off.
the one. No, not the one that they like. The one that they hate.
Oh, there's a mode that they hate. I didn't know there was
Yeah.
another mode.
It's in the career mode. So, like, the career mode takes you through different types of golf. So you can play regular golf,
Oh.
speed golf.
You're talking the one where you have to do it in so many shots or whatever?
I don't know the specifics, but I have not.
You have to go up and down elevation. I've heard it's a fucking nightmare because,
Yeah.
like, early on in the campaign, you have to do this thing where it's like they start you on the mid tier, and you have to do it in so many shots, and it apparently takes a ton of shots to go up. So you have to be really good to get up quickly, and then you have to go down as well. I haven't played it, but I've heard it's a nightmare by just the fact that no matter which way you go, it's a pain in the ass.
And they force you into it in the career mode, which is what people are complaining about because the mode sucks so bad that you have to do it if you want to go through the career mode is kind of a big blow. So I'll play some more of that. Also worth noting something else we'll talk about later. If you play that game in split screen, that frame rate takes a nosedive, baby.
Welcome to the Switch, baby.
Well, welcome to the new Switch, yeah. Like, remember Mario Kart 8? Runs like a dream. 60
This
FPS.
is true. What's going on? Just they can't handle this stuff now? New technology?
Well, I mean, it's the Switch. It was underpowered when it launched, and when you keep trying to push it, I don't know if you've played Hyrule Warriors, the second one, but
Nope.
Ooh, that game's got some frame problems.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go load up Monster Hunter Stories 2, and you'll see some frame problems too.
Well, it's
The saving grace to that game is that it is turn-based. If Monster Hunter Rise played like that, you would be getting bad scores for that game.
I think I found it. It's called Battle Golf, and I had the description a bit wrong. You have to sink the ball in any 3 of the 9 holes first to win.
Yeah.
I believe that's the mode.
That doesn't sound fun. Yeah, Switch. Overwatch in the crossplay, the Switch players are playing at 30 frames per second.
And you're playing at 120.
I know, right?
That's cheating.
Hey, I didn't turn it on.
Turn off your lag switch.
I hit standby on my modem. But yeah, Mario Golf is not a $60 game. I can tell you that.
I hate that too. I hate that.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that game when they announced it.
I sent you guys codes for this, and truthfully, I didn't play much of it either. But the Crash Drive 3, it's basically like a big open world with cars, and you can go run around and do like little activities and things.
Like Fuel?
Huh?
Like Fuel?
No, it's more like arcadey. Like it's
Burnout Paradise?
Think. What's a good comparison to this? It's like a giant playground. Like events will pop up that say, break this beach ball, or do these ramp jumps, or do like backflips or something. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
It's not like, there are races, but it's not like just strictly racing. But yeah, it's okay. I'll roll through the rest of these indie games. By Q Hundreds of Melodies is a visual novel. I don't like it. Inops is a game where you play this black blob and you go around collecting other black blobs and create doing different puzzles, like environmental puzzles. And you can break the character. You can form the characters into one, like you can take all the blobs and make one big blob. Or you can spread them apart to get through narrow paths. You can use the right analog stick to control environmental things, so you can spin cogs or jump pads, things like that. It's actually pretty neat. I played through 5 or 6 levels. Indigo 7 Quest of Love is not what you think it is. It is a hexagonal puzzle game where you're matching colors, but not like Hexic. It's more like you've got a grid of hexagons, and some of them are red, some of them are blue, some of them are green. You get the idea. The objective is whatever the pieces are touching to, you switch that color, and the more you get in that switch, the higher the combo you get.
Exactly what I thought it was.
You thought that's what it was?
I'm just kidding.
Don't you lie to me. But you can build up like a combo meter, and it's versus, so the objective is to get your combo meter higher than the opponent. And for some reason, there's like a Scott Pilgrim inspired band that's like walking you through it dialogue wise, and I don't understand that. It's
Okay.
weird.
Like Clash at Demon Head.
What's that?
It's like Clash at Demon Head.
I've never played that.
No, that's the name of the band.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a Scott Pilgrim stan. I apologize.
I mean, I'm not either. I just don't know the name of the band.
Wasn't
the
that
only
an
thing-
NES game?
Clash at Demon Head, yeah.
Clash it, yeah, something like
Clash
that.
at Demon Head, yeah.
Okay, well there you go. That explains it.
Flash
the whole
Demon
time-
Head is one of the bands. There's also Crash and the Boys, which is also
That's also an NES game.
yes.
Okay.
And Sex Bomb.
Well, what?
That's the name of Scott Pilgrim's band is Sex Bomb.
Sex Bomb?
Mm-hmm.
That is not an NES game that I'm aware
It
of.
should be.
But they have a song called Launchpad McQuack.
Nice.
Sure. Beasts of Maravilla Island is essentially Pokemon Snap, but in third person.
What are you taking pictures of?
Like mythical creatures on this island that you land on.
You
Okay.
have to do puzzles to get certain shots.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like
Okay.
you can get shots. Like you have the photo album, and you can do shots of like each creature has like 4 ways to see it.
Wow, that is like the new Pokemon Snap. Which
Yeah.
is kind of impressive because that's the thing. Everybody says like, "Oh, it's a photography game." It's like Pokemon Snap. No, Pokemon Snap is a puzzle game first and foremost. What is this called again?
The Beasts of Maravilla Island. It's actually it's good. Like it runs
Is it
well.
cartoony?
What's that?
Is it cartoony?
What's the art style I'm kind of thinking of? Donut County, but a little more muted in color.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, kind of that. But it's good. I was pleasantly surprised when I played it. Blitz Breaker is a level by level puzzle game where you're playing on momentum. So like you press left, right, up, and down on the analog stick, and you kind of move the character in that direction. But obviously, the catch is you don't want them to land on spikes or hit walls or things like that. It's fine. It's the Ratalaika game, in case you were curious, Anthony. I know you always like to know that. I tried to play a game called Blue Fire, which is a action platformer, but apparently, and I had to research this, so when I booted it up, it was flickering like crazy. And I noticed when I started the game on the main menu, it had this big warning that said some of the graphical features will be broken on Xbox Series X. And I went to the developer's Twitter and found out that if you have your Series X set to 120 hertz, that it will cause issues with the game. They're working on a patch. But what I played of it, I really liked. It is, like I said, it's like a 3D platformer with an action base where you've got a sword and shield and you can dodge. Kind of reminds me of like a platforming. I hate to use the word, but Souls. Like it very much has that kind of art style to it. You're attacking enemies with your sword, dodging attacks, collecting like these little items to upgrade your character. It's really well done, and I will probably revisit it once they patch it because I'm not going to turn off my 120 hertz every time I want to play it.
This is called Blue Fire.
Blue Fire.
Okay.
Imagine Earth is a god simulation where it's like what they call those, like strategy games where you're making decisions, building a world. Mythic Ocean is a first-person adventure game, again, where the world has been destroyed and you're swimming around with a fish making decisions to rebuild the world. It's a really fucking weird game. And then Police Stories is a top-down, like, action tactical game where you're, like, responding to, like police calls, and you have to go and you can arrest people, you can shoot them, and then it scores you based on whether or not you did the right thing. But it kind of plays like trash, so I didn't really have a good time playing it.
Is that the one that looks like Hotline Miami?
Yeah, kind of. It's literally straight top down. It's not like an
Okay,
isometric.
that's the one
Yeah,
I've seen that before, and I was like, that sounds interesting that there'd be a more tactical version of Hotline Miami, but apparently not.
I mean, it's a cool idea, but then I started playing it, and I really didn't like the way it controlled. Like, it just didn't feel good. It felt sluggish. And then I'm still trying to get into Greedfall. I've got a lot of issues with Greedfall. I don't like that when you travel between areas that you have to stop at the camp. I understand what it's for, but I wish I could just skip it.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, originally I think it was there to hide load times, but on these new consoles, it seems like they wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't just like remove that from the game.
Right.
So I'm still gonna keep trying because I like the world. The combat is fine. The story, it's not really my jam. I don't like that period. But I do like the mystery of the crazy island.
Yep.
So I'm gonna keep trying to get through that game, but there are a lot of things about it that really just kind of irritate me. And then I did try to return to A Plague Tale, and I was enjoying the game until it forced me into like this giant combat situation with this knight, because the combat in that game is very bad. So again, I'm going to continue to try to play that game, but when your game is like focused on stealth and kind of story driven and like puzzle solving, and then you throw me into this combat section where you have to dodge and then hit a guy from behind like 20 times, and it's just frustrating. I kind of lose interest in playing it after that point. So I'll try to get back to it. I want to play these games that people talk about because I'm interested in playing them, but sometimes you get frustrated and you're like, I don't want to play this anymore. All right, but I think that's it. I think that's kind of the big stuff I played this week. I've been trying to get my tank out of gold in Overwatch, but I feel like it's just those low to mid gold games are really bad. You get some DPS people in there that just cannot do anything. And now that I got chat, Drew, I can watch. There's nothing more fun than watching the other team like crumble in chat.
Yeah.
As they start blaming all of the players on their team.
Yeah. They'll constantly say, report Pharaoh on our team.
Oh yeah, I see report. My soldier is trash. Please get off Widow.
Install this game.
What's the big MOBA that was super popular? That League of Legends.
I was gonna say it's
That
either
was-
League or Dota, one of the two.
It was League, and then people were like, "You gotta try League." That was the
No.
entire time I tried League, and I went, "I'm not doing this again."
I
I clearly don't know what's going on. Ugh.
But then again, like Drew, sometimes I'll see the really funny. So I was in a match last night, and it starts off, and this person's just like, "I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful game." I'm just like, okay, all right.
C was a weird place to play Overwatch, and I've spent the majority of my time playing it there.
Yeah. Well, now the console players can chat and type to each other, and
Yep.
it is literally a back and forth. Nobody has said anything to me until last night. We were playing a match and we were trying to take the last point, and I switched to Monkey and literally like wiped their entire team twice. And in the chat, I saw, "Damn you, Monkey." And that's the only time anybody said anything to me in chat. So
I used to get all sorts of stuff.
yeah, that's all I've heard. I mean, I've seen my team crumble in the chat, and I've seen the opposing team crumble in the chat, and it's equally hilarious.
There's one interaction I had with somebody who was on my team. His tag was not moose, and so I just typed in the chat, Dean Winchester, and he's like, "You're the first person that's ever got my name correct."
I can't believe the names that people get away. So now when you play, it's your BattleNet tag.
Right.
I cannot believe some of them are so generic. I want you to know that I ran into Roadhog and Mercy and Genji.
Yep.
But also I played with, if you look on my Twitter feed, I posted a video of me dancing in Busan last night. One of the people on my team's name was Fisty Butts.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can definitely get away with a lot worse names.
Oh, dude, if you use characters, they don't care. I've played with people who use like characters that spell out just the word "fuck."
Yeah,
and that Blizzard doesn't care.
No, like it's so weird to see these new names pop up because I'm like, Xbox would never allow that name. It's also weird for me to see my name on there that is not my gamer tag from every other machine.
I watched that video and I was like, who the heck? What did he start a freaking Smurf account?
No, that's not a Smurf account. That's my Blizzard tag.
Yep, I finally remembered that.
Yeah, I played a lot of StarCraft. That's where that name came from.
What is it? Something related to the Zerg?
Protoss.
Wow.
It's Proto Zero. That's my battle tag or whatever you want to call it. Blizzard account ID. Anyway, this week new releases. If you got them fancy new consoles, we got F1 2021 Deluxe Edition, Worms Rumble Fully Loaded Edition, Blaster Master 02 making its way to Xbox, Lost at Sea, the official release of the Space Jam: A New Legacy, the game, and movies out this week too, isn't it?
I'm not sure. We
think-
watched the first one the other day in this household in preparation for the new one because my son had not seen the first one.
I think that's out this week. I think it's July 16th.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
Does it
will
still
watch
hold
that.
up? I hate to say that. Does it still hold up?
Does it still hold up?
Yeah.
I mean, he thought it was pretty funny, most of it. I think the challenge is that he going into this movie had no idea who Michael Jordan was. Like, he had no idea who any of the NBA players that are in it, like Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley and Sean
Sure.
Bradley, and he didn't know who Bill Murray was. So, like, for him, none of the celebrity stuff really holds up because they're not celebrities that he's aware of because it's not 1996. But overall, I think the movie holds up pretty well. There were parts of it that he thought were really funny.
Looney Tunes animation
He
holds up.
lost it. Yeah, he lost it at the part where Wayne Knight gets landed on by the giant Monstar, and he's like completely smashed flat on the ground. My son thought that was the funniest thing.
I love Looney Tunes.
So yeah, it held up well enough, I'll say.
To make a mention of it on the show, Drew, that Looney Tunes B-Ball is the shit. If you haven't played that, you need to go play that game.
Told you.
I cannot believe that I had never heard of this game, and I played it, and I played Marvin the Martian, because he's the fucking GOAT. And
Really?
that game, you need to play that game.
I can't remember who else is in that game. I know
It's
Bugs,
Taz, Bugs, Porky,
Daffy.
Elmer is in it, Marvin the Martian. God, I know there was a couple more.
Wile E. Coyote,
Yeah, Wiley's in it.
Sylvester.
That game is really good.
Yeah, that game is legit good. It is NBA Jam, but with Looney Tune characters.
And it holds up. It played wonderfully today.
The music is great in that game, too.
Yeah, I think I played that for like an hour when I finally got around to booting it up. And I was just like, man, this game's a shit. I want to play this game. They should remaster this game.
Yeah.
I'd play this game today. F1 2021 regular edition, and then Observer System Redux. I'm assuming that's a box copy because that's been out for a while. And Where the Heart Leads, coming to PS5. And then for old machines, they're old now, by the way. We got Where the Heart Leads and Worms Rumble, but we also have Little Witch Academia VR Broom Racing. Yeah. Streets of Rage 4, Mr. X Nightmare. DLC for Streets of Rage 4. Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2, wrong number, assuming that's a physical version. Within the Blade. Whatever that is. Within the Blade. Sounds like a Rutger Hauer movie from like the
It definitely does.
early 90s. Batbarian, The Testament of the Primordials.
What?
Oh, that's a game. Wizard. That's a game coming out this week. Wizard.
I know wizard.
How is it spelled?
Wizodd. Wizard.
Wizard. Gotcha.
I just have to
I
say
thought
it
it was
like
like the Weezer.
the Weezer.
Yeah,
No,
remember?
using the odd.
Fucking Pauly Shore podcast this week.
I was thinking the Aqua Teen Hunger Force guy.
Oh yeah, the Wizard.
Yeah. Remember when we were doing those videos with what was it? Soma? And whenever the stream would mess up, I'd always go, hang on, rebuffering.
Rebuffering. Oh man. Soma. That game. The Nintendo Switch. We've got the hot releases like Classic Pool.
Oh.
Egg Up. Fates of Ort. Curved Space. 3D Air Hockey.
Wait.
Induction. Dark Fantasy Jigsaw Puzzle.
Right.
Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe. Defend the Kingdom. Oof, this one's a mouthful. Escape from a deserted island, the adventures of Nyanzu and Kumakichi escape game series. Follow all that? Good.
Sure.
Guild of Dark Steel. Junkyard Builder.
Junkyard Dog Builder.
I wish. Labyrinth City.
Grab them cakes.
Labyrinth City, Pierre the Maze Detective. Lambs on the Road, the beginning.
That's right.
Lambs on the road, the beginning.
I picture lambs in like a convertible with the top down.
100%.
Yeah. Lotus Reverie, First Nexus. Macrotus, A Mother's Journey. Our Battle Has Just Begun, Episode 1.
Well, I would hope it'd be episode 1 if the battle has just begun.
Red Colony 2. Risk System. Rogue Wizards. Word Crush Hidden. Lost Grimoires 3, The Forgotten Well. Restless Night. And finally, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD.
So I looked up Lambs on the Road.
Lambs on the Road.
Inspired on the bestseller The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which I believe they made a
They did make a
Movie?
out of. Yes,
Didn't it
they
have
did.
Eric? What's his name? Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo
No.
Mortensen.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, this is a serious game. It has nothing to do with lambs.
That's fucked up.
Yep.
It would be a better game if it was lambs in a convertible.
Agreed. With sunglasses on.
Yeah.
And Judge Reinhold is in the movie as well. Somehow. Or the game, I should say.
That's right, old.
It absolutely sounds like it would be a Judge Reinhold movie from the early 80s, starring lambs that cartoon anthropomorphic lambs that own a convertible.
You realize that like 90% of the people listening to this are like, who the fuck is Judge Reinhold?
Well, that's okay.
They're on their way to California to go meet up with the raisins.
That's right.
He sticks a banana in the tailpipe.
I ain't falling for no banana in a tailpipe.
Then Eddie Murphy pops out of the corner. All right. Let's do some news. You remember when SNK would not announce the platforms for King of Fighters 15? Everybody's like, what the fuck is this coming to? What the fuck is this coming to? Why won't they announce the platforms? It's coming to the obvious platforms. It's coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC.
No Switch.
Nope, no Switch.
That's what you get.
That's what you,
That's what you get.
that's what you get.
I should also mention, by the way, when I was talking about Space Jam, one thing that absolutely does not hold up is the look at how hot this cartoon rabbit is stuff.
Oh God,
boy.
yeah. Like, didn't they change
Does
her for the
not
new
hold-
one?
They did, yes, thankfully. But yeah, that whole thing is super cringeworthy now to watch it.
I'm sure there's a group of people online
Oh, they're absolutely
that
pissed.
absolutely holds up.
But yeah.
Yeah, they're pissed about the new one because she looks like a normal cartoon character.
They'd be pissed about the TV show where they brought her back and Kristen Wiig voiced her then too, because she was a completely different character in that.
I'm still waiting on the Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel/remake where they changed Jessica Rabbit. People gonna be pissed.
It would be very odd for them to, one, make a sequel to that movie, and two, make a sequel that isn't based off of a book like that movie is.
That's true.
There is a sequel to the book, but I
Like
don't.
like the book sequel to Forrest Gump.
Is there really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
there's a second
Bubble Gum
book.
Company.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Hmm.
I didn't even know that was a book.
Yeah, Forrest Gump
Yep.
was a book, and then there was a second book, and they didn't make a second movie.
I'm pretty sure the guy who wrote the books hated the movie.
I mean, don't they normally?
Yeah.
Not the guy that wrote Roger Rabbit, surprisingly, even though it's very different from the book, because the book is based off of old comic strip characters, not Disney and Warner Brothers
Brothers.
cartoons. So they actually spoke with speech bubbles that were visible, and the words would be backwards if you saw them from the other side.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Remember that Terminator game that was alright?
Yeah, maybe.
Those guys are making a RoboCop game.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh God.
And it's coming in 2024.
Rogue City, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Didn't they say 2024?
I don't know. I didn't
yes.
read the date.
It was either 2024 or 2023. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got some time. Is the point.
Why even show it? Why even announce it?
Well, to be fair, they didn't really show it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a CGI trailer, but I mean, those guys get a little credit because that Terminator game was pretty good, but I'm still very pissed at them because they upgraded that game, but they only did it on PlayStation and they didn't give a reason why, and I'm just like, come on.
Quietly, there'll be trouble.
That's right. Sony put out an ad this week for the PlayStation 5, but there happened to be a little problem in the ad.
Yeah.
In the ad, some guy was sitting on his couch playing PlayStation 5, but it was upside down.
It looked like he was having a great time with it.
Yeah.
I made a joke on Twitter. I was like, he's just prepping for, when you have to put it upside down for it to read the discs like the
Yeah,
PS1.
disc readers, yeah.
Yeah.
Early on, didn't Herman Hulst do the same thing?
Yeah, his PlayStation 5 was upside down in his house.
I mean, is it a big deal? Does it?
I mean, you got to put the disc in upside down.
Right.
Whoop.
I mean, you would think that Sony, the company that makes the PlayStation 5, like the head of PlayStation and I don't know, the marketing department, which would know which way the PlayStation 5 goes.
You would think, but
At least I'd hope it would. We'll get to the state of play stuff in a minute. There's quite a few things in that. The Witcher 3 next-gen version was confirmed to still be releasing this year. Plus, it's getting free DLC based on the show.
yep. Excited.
And the show's season 2 is airing in December.
Yep.
With an animated show starring Vesemir happening next month.
August, yep.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking
Have
forward to
they-
all of that.
Have they said who is going to be playing Vesemir?
I don't remember if they've announced the casting for that or not.
For some reason, I heard rumors that Mark Hamill would be Vesemir.
I remember reading that, but I think that got debunked. I think Hamill himself said that that was news to him.
Gotcha.
But I don't remember if that's the case or not. It could just be me making stuff up.
That's
I guess we'll find out who
brain.
voices Vesemir in this animated show. Maybe they'll reuse the same person.
Maybe they'll reuse them.
We have a new record for a sealed copy of an NES game.
In terms of dollar amount?
Dollar amount. Sealed
Okay.
Legend of Zelda, the first one.
Gold one.
I'm assuming it's still sealed, so who knows?
Mm.
$870,000.
What the fuck?
This is a completely inflated market by people that have way too much money.
I understand
And they
that.
think they're investing, too.
That's the case with pretty much all collectibles, to be fair.
True.
Yeah, it just...
There's a sucker born every day. So
Things
There's-
are worth what people are willing to pay for them.
Precisely.
Yeah, I know. It's just there's something fucky with this one. Like, we haven't had these games this long, and they have to go so it's not just a copy of Legend of Zelda. It's a first pressing, and it's like, and there's not that many of them, except that they don't have the numbers. So how the fuck do they even know that? How do they know that there isn't just a collector sitting on these who've had them forever? It's like, this just happens to be the one that's being sold, and you have to justify why it's worth so much money. Obviously, people bid on it, but I don't know. There's something wrong with this whole thing where it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's like, that doesn't make sense all the time.
That does not make sense.
Yes.
Ryan, I want to know how you
only-
feel. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's only going to continue to get worse as nerds like us get older and amass more money.
I mean, I'll never have $870,000 for a Zelda.
I was going to say, I'm not amassing any kind of money. I'm spending at a very rapid rate.
Yeah, I feel you there. I seem to be spending it faster than I can make it.
Anyway, what do you want to get my opinion on?
So Ubisoft got leaked and then made an official statement. The next iteration of Assassin's Creed is called Assassin's Creed Infinity. And it
and then... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say, it is essentially kind of like a live service platform where they will be adding different time periods of Assassin's Creed games over time.
Yeah, but their initial announcement made it kind of sound like games as a service, like Destiny or something like that. But then their further clarification made it seem more like it's just like it's an interconnected sort of hub that the games will all connect to. So you'll still get different Assassin's Creed games. They'll just be sort of connected through this hub. So I don't know. I feel like we probably haven't seen enough of it yet to know exactly whether it's something to be excited about or cautious about. But I don't know, man. I hope they don't turn Assassin's Creed into Destiny. And that's what my fear was after the initial announcement. But then with some further clarification, they made it sound more like it's just, like I said, more of an interconnected hub to connect the games a little better. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. So I'll have to see what it ends up being.
I think, just spitballing here, what would be really cool is if the hub had a timeline and all the games were connected, and say you had them all installed, you could go through the timeline and just pick the game you want to play, and it would just boot right up. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, and if they, so the other thing too would be if you have sort of this, if you do and the games would be bigger, so it's not episodic, but think of it like an episodic game. If the hub was the modern day, they already kind of do this, where the only way the games are interconnected is through the modern day story. So if you just have the modern day story be this hub, and all the games kind of branch off of it, I think you could still accomplish what the games have been trying to accomplish all along, just in a little bit different way. So I don't know. I'm reserving judgment on it until I see what it actually is, because I just don't know that we have enough information on what it actually is yet.
Yep, and I'm guessing we won't see this thing until next year.
Isn't that kind of what they do with Battlefield? Like they have a hub now where you can just play all the games if you have them installed.
Yes. And they did say that both it was at Montreal and what's the other one? The other Ubisoft studio that works on these.
No, not Shanghai. Shanghai did
No.
Splinter Cell.
It's
Montpellier?
I can't
No,
remember.
there's Toronto. There's Butcher's doing Immortals.
Yeah, it's Toronto then. It's
Okay.
whatever it is. It's the studios that work on the one studio worked on Odyssey and Valhalla, or sorry, Origins and Valhalla, and the other one worked on Odyssey and Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, yeah.
Those two studios are working together on whatever this is, which also makes me think it's more of like just a kind of a hub that will eventually connect multiple games.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, but like I said, that's why I'm waiting to judge it until I see what it actually is, because it could be something that's relatively innocuous, or it could be something that's a big step backwards. And so I'm hoping that it's the former and not the latter. No, latter, not the former.
All right, let's talk about that state of play. You know, that thing that everybody was like, OMG, here we go. Sony's E3 event, baby. That's not what it was.
No, it was not.
So we'll Death Stranding Director's Cut got a release date September. Also, it's only $10 to upgrade, so I'm so fucking upgrading that thing. It's got a bunch of extra content in it. And then obviously the PS5 upgrades. I like that game more than I care to admit.
I have not played it, so
Yeah, I like that game. So I will definitely spend the $10 thing is nice. To be able to upgrade from the original to this. Moss Book 2, follow up to the PSVR / Quest game, the little mouse.
it's good.
Yeah, that game was cool. So it's cool to see it got a sequel. We already have the first game in August's PlayStation Plus lineup, which was a newly announced game from Ilphonic, the guys that made Predator Hunting Grounds. Oh no, sorry, wrong game. I got them confused. This is not a PlayStation Plus game. This game is not coming out till 2022. The Ilphonic game, and that is, what's the name of it? Arcadegeddon. That's what it was called. Arcadegeddon is in early access. I'm sorry, I got Arcadegeddon and the other game I'm going to talk about. The other game that I'm going to talk about is the August PlayStation Plus. Arcadegeddon is the game that look like Fortnite.
That's just what we need, is more games that look like Fortnite.
Right? Third person game. The funny thing is the trailer ran like a create your own template of how to announce a game. They're like, check out these wacky customizations you can put on your characters. Kill other players and collect loot. I mean, the only thing they didn't have was like build a wall or a staircase with your Batman skin.
With your Batman skin. Or your...
Then floss.
yeah, then floss.
I'm sure there are emotes in this game. I literally rolled my eyes so hard that I could see the back of my head. I'm like, I don't...
Does the world need another Fortnite game?
Or
as my son called it in a message to his friend the other day, footnote.
Footnote? I mean, we might need another footnote game. I don't know about you. But no, remember when EA paid a bunch of streamers to play Knockout City and then nobody played Knockout City after that?
Yes.
Yeah, same shit. Like, there are too many of these games, and literally there's only room for like one or two of these games in every genre.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know. It's like, why would you make a MOBA? Because League of Legends and Dota exist. Like, why would you make an MMO? Because Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft exist.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, man. I just don't understand it. And why would you make Bleeding Edge?
Well, the problem with gaming specifically is that, so in music, right, when you have, so I'll use Creed as an example, just because they're our go-to example on this podcast. When Creed launched, it was easy for sound-alike bands to catch on because there were already bands out there that the lead singer just needed to make a minor change to their voice, and now all of a sudden they sound like Creed and they can get on the radio. And so you saw a whole bunch of copycats pop up. With video games, by the time you see somebody else doing something and you're like, oh, we should copy that because it's popular, you're already years behind. Unless you're like Fortnite and you do the same thing and you make a minor edit to your game and then end up being the dominant game in the market. But so you end up with all these, like, things get popular and then it's like 3 years later, hey, here's a bunch of copycats of that game that was popular 3 years ago. It just doesn't work as well.
Especially when that main game is still the most fucking popular game on the planet.
For sure.
Like, there's no room for you.
And I think a big part of why Fortnite was able to usurp PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is because PUBG stopped updating for a while. Like, a lot of people were waiting for a new map.
Well, and PUBG
Right.
also didn't do a good enough job of capturing or going after the youth market, which
The
Fortnite
Utes.
basically exploited immediately.
For sure, but I mean, like, on the just a player base too, why wouldn't you leave for the thing that's constantly updating when PUBG is just taking its time? I remember people saying, like, when's the new map coming out? And there was like the couple days you could play the new map and then it just disappeared again. Like, waiting for it to officially come out and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I could understand why you would be upset that this game that, I mean, let's be honest, Fortnite wasn't this to begin with at all, is now suddenly doing all the things you want your game to do.
Yep. And once you grab that lightning, it's impossible to recreate it. I don't care how much you copy, how much you keep the same stuff in there. You're just not gonna pull people away.
Right. Well, because everybody's going to immediately see that it's just a copy. It's like, well, why would I want to play that when I could just play? In fact, my son and his friends, when they got tired of Fortnite, decided they were going to go to Spellbreak, and so they played Spellbreak for a while. And then they all very quickly realized, wait, this is just Fortnite. It's just a little bit different. And none of my stuff from Fortnite is here, so why am I playing this? And then they all went back to Fortnite.
Yep. I mean, it's that way across the board. When you get one and it works, and then people try. I will never understand that in video games. Like, everybody goes to copy it. Like, everybody had a battle royale.
Minecraft.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody copied
Yep.
Minecraft. Nothing. I mean, Minecraft's still around. All those games gone.
And people tried to, and I mean, Overwatch, I know people will disagree with me, but Overwatch just basically did what TF2 used to be before they went all hat crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
that's
then
exactly what
they
Overwatch
stopped
is.
updating.
Well, here's the problem is, and we're going to see if this pans out, but Overwatch has stopped updating.
That's what I mean. No, I mean, Overwatch stopped up. No, TF2 still updates. It's just the player base isn't what it used to be.
My
Still very
curiosity,
popular.
yeah, my curiosity is going to be if Overwatch can sustain it, because let's be fair, I mean, there's not another game doing what it does right now. So unless
Because all the
something,
competition died off.
yeah, unless something comes along to kind of take that mantle, Blizzard can kind of drag their ass on that sequel.
Well, that's to be fair, that's what they've done with Diablo.
Yeah, because nobody's taken that crown. But they still add significant things to Diablo. As an Overwatch player, there ain't been shit since that last character, and that's been like a year, man.
For a year.
I mean, that was literally the last big update to that game. That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, and I don't want to say it like this, but Overwatch is dying a very slow death.
There's a
They
reason
need-
crossplay got announced and was implemented that fast.
But that's not going to fix anything.
No, but it's gonna pad the player counts in getting in matches.
Sure.
So I don't know. Speaking of battle royales, the other game announced was a fighting game battle royale called Hunter's Arena, and that will be the PlayStation Plus game for August. I watched the
Sure.
trailer for this and was like, I'm good. I don't want to play it.
You would think that the game companies would realize that this is going to fail, right?
You would think.
Okay. So I bring it up now and then, but I mean literally there is someone trying to build a console based off the idea of if I can just get a percentage of the casual market, this console will be a success. But that's not how it works.
I mean,
That audience is already fulfilled. They have phones.
I
That's
don't-
what they play games on. Selling a console to them isn't going to help. It's the same with all these battle royales. They're already playing battle royales if they want to play battle royales.
yeah, Apex Legends and Fortnite. That's what people play. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but a console just came out, right?
The Atari?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's right.
I
Nobody,
mean,
nobody
it
knows.
exists. Was it ever really a console?
I mean, it's a box that you plug controllers into and plug it into your TV. That's pretty much a console.
What games are on it?
That's it. I
Fuck
mean,
off.
it's a PC, man. It's
I mean, they're all PCs.
Or-
Let's be fair.
well, no, I mean literally, it's like a Linux computer inside, and that's it.
I think it's got what's the remake that they did for it? Is it Asteroids or Missile Command or something? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I know the Intellivision Amico is getting a bunch of Atari classics too, because fucking
I mean,
weird ass company that is.
Sure, why not? Right?
Thing looks terrible.
Full market.
Well, you ain't getting no market with that thing because it looks
Here's-
terrible.
Here's $250. Now, excuse me, I have to get in fights on the internet.
$250 for that thing. No, that's like people that think Stadia is going to be around next year. You know, fucking
That
crazy.
thing looks like the kind of thing that you would buy like on the discount shelf at Kmart.
I bet it. I'll be real honest with you. When it like it's clearance out for like $50, I'd probably buy one.
It looks like a foot bath.
It does look like a foot bath. You are absolutely right. That is one.
I'm not the. I'm
what it
not.
looks like.
That wasn't even my. That wasn't even. I can't take credit for that. Somebody pointed it out, and it's all I've been able to see.
It
I mean,
100% does look like that.
It does
That is
look like a foot
absolutely
bath.
accurate.
I mean, maybe it's a good
And the
foot bath.
games
I
are
don't
just,
know.
Like stupid looking. Like, oh, look at this. Here's like some rock paper scissors something. I don't know. It just seems terrible.
People.
It seems like the kind of console your grandma buys you because she's trying to be well-meaning. And it's like you get it for Christmas, and it's like, oh, great, yeah,
Thanks, Grandma.
it plugs right into my component inputs. That's awesome. It's it's a controller and a console in one. I see that. Yeah, it looks like the Pac-Man. Yeah,
Looks
think-
like the Pac-Man.
The best part about it is the controllers that have like a screen on it. That they're like, we're gonna be able to play games on it. Can only hold like a megabyte of information.
yeah, they're like VMUs.
Hell
Oh,
yeah! Bring
man.
back the chows. I want the chows back. Remember when I could pick my plays in NFL 2K on the VMU? Hell yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah.
and you could level up your little dude in PSO. What are the little things called?
Oh,
Mag.
mags, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Speaking of which, I need to. Did they do anything for PSO2 on Series X?
I think
Like,
that
is it any
new
different?
version is optimized, the one that just launched with new Genesis.
Oh, is it out already?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, okay, I may have to check that out
Yeah.
because the last one was cool. I mean, it was cool in the sense that I could play Phantasy Star, but at the same time, it really looked and operated like trash.
Yeah, I think they made a bunch of upgrades to new Genesis. I think I installed it, but I haven't really dove into it.
I have to check it out.
We got a release date for Fist. Remember that game, the robot with the big arm?
Yep.
That's coming out in September. That game looks cool. I'll play that game. Sifu has been delayed to 2022. Showed off a new trailer for that. And then they showed a 9-minute gameplay of Deathloop, which the only story I saw sparked out of that was that the exclusivity for that game ends on September 14th, 2022.
Yeah, I still think that game looks awesome, and I'm somebody who I love what the
Dishonored?
hell? Dishonored. Darksiders ended up in my head, and then I couldn't get it to leave. Yeah, the Dishonored games, and so I'm really looking forward to that one.
I mean, it looks like Dishonored, like
That's,
the movement and the powers and stuff.
Yep. It looks like a Dishonored rogue game.
I'm still not $70 sold on it, so I'll wait till September 14th, 2022 and play it for free. Because it'll be on Game Pass day one. I think that's everything that came out of State of Play. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did.
I don't think so. I think you got it. It was a relatively disappointing conference, honestly, because even the stuff that we didn't know about was relatively small.
Yeah,
And we
Sony's
knew
keeping
about Deathloop. It was cool to see some more of it, but we knew about it. So
yeah, it was nice to get an actual like release date for it, so at least you know
Yeah.
when it's coming out. I'm trying to think if there was anything. Anthony, is there anything you could think of before I move to the big dog?
No, all I have to say is I was right.
Are you an insider now? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm anti-insider is what I'm saying.
So Nintendo on I think it was a Tuesday morning dropped that there's a new Switch coming.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
So it's the Switch OLED, or as I like to call it, the SWOLED. And it's got a new OLED screen. It's 7 inches, which is like 0.8 inches bigger than the last one. It's got new amazing features like a built-in LAN port for the dock.
Yep.
Oh, it's $50 more.
Yep. But it's got that OLED.
So yeah, it's got that OLED running at 720p, baby.
I mean, it's gonna look nice.
Fair. I have a portable OLED machine on the bed right behind me that didn't exactly set the world on fire. So
I've got a lot of problems with this, and take the insider stuff out of this.
I can't.
So
I can't, Ken. And I'll just quickly say it. When they said that they were buying a bunch of screens, all the insiders said, "Oh, this is because the Switch Pro." It's like, no, they bought a bunch of OLED screens, and this is what they've done with them.
my problem with this is Nintendo doing this because they can. The fact that this thing is $50 more, and that I get it. You don't have to yell at me. You don't have to be screaming into into your computer screen right now saying, "Well, it's a business decision." Like, would you stop selling the Switch at $300 if you were making hand over fist money? Of course I wouldn't. But let's be fair. The Switch does not cost enough to warrant a $300 price tag anymore. That thing could be $199 and they'd still make money. these upgrades are not $50 worth of upgrades. And if they wanted to be cool, they could have made this the new Switch and priced it at $299 and then dropped the old one. Because you know they're not going to make any more of those old ones now, right? Those are done.
Sure. Yeah, those are done.
They would sell that at $249 and just make this the new $300 Switch. But no, they added $50 to this, and I know why they did it. It is a grooming. So if they do announce a Switch Pro or a new piece of hardware next year, they can charge $400 for it, and you'll just be like, well, it's only $50 more.
Yep.
I understand it. I don't like it because Nintendo can do it because they can just do it. As Palpatine would say, they could do it.
Do it. Screw it.
Screw it. There's absolutely nothing in this for me. I do not need to buy this Switch, which I'm thankful for, because I don't have $350 to drop on a console right now.
I feel like every time you say drop, you should be required to say it the way the Beastie Boys do in New Style. You should have to say
drop.
Or if you came along later, you can say it the way, or you can use the sample like the Far Side did.
Yeah, I should do that. I should get a soundboard with just drop on it. And Palpatine saying, do it.
Do it.
Do it. Anybody buying this thing?
No, but
No.
I don't have an issue with it existing like you seem to. And the only reason why I say that is because, like, I don't know, they did this with the DS line.
I don't have a problem with it existing, Anthony. I have a problem with the way Nintendo works. I fully expect there to be iterations of hardware. For sure.
This is no different to me than the SP line, where the first generation was really kind of not great in hindsight, and then the second round had the actual backlit screen.
Did they charge more for that than the SP was when it launched?
Potentially, I can't recall.
I'm just curious because I don't feel like this is a $50 upgrade to what's currently available, and I certainly don't feel like the old Switch is still worth $300. You can buy an
Same
Xbox
thing, you
Series
can-
S for $300. You
You
can buy
know,
a digital
you-
PS5 for $400.
Yeah.
You know who you can partially blame for this?
Yeah, Nintendo fans. I'm aware.
Scalpers. No, not Nintendo fans. Scalpers.
No, I can blame Nintendo fans because they're going to buy it. Nobody needs this, but
Nobody needs any video game, Ken.
you know what I mean. If you want to play Switch games, you don't need this. You could buy the old one.
You could buy a Switch Lite, too.
No, you can't because
I
you
mean,
can't play that on TV.
Yeah, well, you know the point I'm making. Like it's all of a sudden like I'm just saying like we don't need this. Fine, who gives a shit? Like let people buy it if they want. Maybe it's not produced in super high numbers like everybody thinks it's going to be.
This is the new Switch. Come on, don't kid yourself.
Fucking-
Nintendo wants the new standard to be $350. If you were selling every Switch you made, wouldn't you want the standard to be $50 more? Think about how much money that is. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
You can get that OLED, because OLED is a hot word right now.
I'm going to go back to the fact that we already had a portable console with an OLED in it, and then several years later, when they remade that console, guess what?
They took out
They
the
didn't put
OLED.
the OLED in anymore.
Yeah, but by that point they were barely supporting the fucking thing. So
I mean, they
that's
were
fair.
barely supporting the fucking thing when it launched. Let's be
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair. True.
Speaking of which, I just ordered. We'll see how it goes. I just ordered, and it should arrive today. One of those adapters to where you can use any micro SD card on your Vita.
Oh yeah, I saw those things floating around. That's a cool.
Yeah.
Whoever did that.
You gotta have a now. To be fair, you gotta have a hacked Vita. You can't.
I mean, it doesn't really void your warranty anymore, so I wouldn't really care.
Yeah. So I'll let you all know how it works.
yeah, I'm interested in that because like that seems like a really cool thing for for Vita like collection and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Uh, I just have a problem with the fact that Nintendo can do whatever they want and it'll work because everybody's going to buy it anyway. I think that's my issue.
I'm sorry, I see that with every console manufacturer to some extent.
Oh hell no! They can't do anything
Ye-
with Xbox. Xbox.
Oh, you're fair, okay, sure, Xbox, not so much, but like Sony, same thing. People will bitch, then they'll buy it. I mean, seems to be the frequent state of things with all video games. Like, I can't believe they're doing this. You're gonna fucking buy it. Shut up.
I am not.
I'm not buying this either, but I don't.
There's
Fair
no
enough.
benefit because I don't play portable.
I do, but I don't. I think it's a pretty decent LCD screen already in there.
The screen is fine,
Yeah.
and not to mention that you're only going to get 720p out of the OLED anyway.
Yeah, but that's not why I would. That's not the reason why I found the OLED nice in the Vita. I've seen the Vita. See, that's the other thing too. I can't compare these side by side, like because I just won't run into these. But I've seen the PSP or sorry, the Vita, whatever it was called,
Yeah, the LCD versus the OLED. Yeah. Everybody die?
already. So I don't know. It's a whatever. I don't have any interest in it, and I'm not going to support it. That's the best I can do. If that's your thing, go right ahead. I just don't care enough about this. I just find it funny that all the everything that was leading to this, people were saying it was going to be a higher powered Switch, and this is literally just the same thing with a nicer screen.
I think my computer just had like a fart.
Okay.
Everything went quiet for like 20 seconds. And I couldn't even bring Discord up.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what's going on with my PC today. It's been doing this. It was doing this when I started it, and then I reset it. It seemed like it was okay.
Dying, Ken.
It's fucking
Put it out
brand.
of its
It's like
misery.
a year and a half
Put
old.
it out of its misery, Ken.
Yeah, let's put the. That's why I love PC gaming. $1,600, and it's fucking. It's out of date. A year and a half later. Jesus
Your
Christ.
Switch. It's by your Switch OLED. Your old Switch is old.
That's how I feel like my Switch is every time I play it. It's like it's over there. It's like coughing in the corner, like it's been smoking for 60 years or some shit.
I don't know what you're trying to run on it. I don't seem to have too many issues.
On the Switch?
Yeah.
Have you played Hyrule Warriors 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing our Mario Odyssey as we talk.
Mario
Like,
Odyssey is brilliant. Like,
but I haven't. I don't know. You must be playing some shit. I mean, you probably have had to play some shit. For
oh, I've
review.
absolutely had to play some shit. You have no idea. Oh, anyway, I don't. No, thank you.
All I can say is that I'm just glad that they're not like making. Oh, for those who want to upgrade. Oh, this is gonna need a new dock, new Joy-Cons.
At least I can buy the dock and hardwire my old Switch. So that's nice.
So it's just like I at least appreciate that because they could have been far worse. They sold the new 3DS XLs without a power cord.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
Now,
unless they're doing shit like that, in which case, fuck them.
well, there is one
I-
caveat to the dock. You
What's
can
that?
you can only buy it from the Nintendo store. It will not be sold at retailers. Which means you'll never be able to get it on sale.
Dude.
Now, I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember how much a dock costs, but it's
it's a lot.
It's a third of the price of the Switch.
Yep, I know. And it's not, there's really nothing to it.
No, it's just it's literally just a dock that you
Pass through.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's all it is.
But, I don't know. Maybe this is their way of dealing with scalping? I have no idea. Maybe not. I don't use the Nintendo store to buy stuff, so other people would know better than I.
I think this is just Business wise, I get it. I just think this is a way for Nintendo to make a shitload more money. Which good on them.
Make your money.
Make your money, son. All right. So my PC doesn't die. I'm gonna move on, get the email and the tweets out. Adam sent us an email. He says, "Hey, how's it going? I just finished playing Death Stranding and I really enjoyed it. I found it rather relaxing and oddly satisfying. It may have helped that I used to work for the Postal Service. I was in a bit of a gaming break when it came out, so I didn't hear your opinions on release, so just wondering what everyone's thoughts are on it. P.S. Please convince the Phoenix Down guys to do it."
Just figured that's going to be a really hard game to talk about and make a podcast about.
Why?
Oh no, 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 it won't be.
No.
Just the first 30 hours of that's going to be like, yeah, I walked over here and then I walked back.
Oh no, there's
It's
more.
far more fascinating than that.
Yeah, there's a lot more in there. There's a lot going on. I saw people talking about that game over the week when the State of Play came out and the director's cut was mentioned, and they're like, I don't. I was like, man, you don't know that game. That game goes places, and those places are fun to go. So I don't know. I think you should play it. I think that's a good game to play.
So I was pretty anti that game before coming out because it looked like more Kojima bullshit, and in, I guess in a way it is more Kojima bullshit. But it's his most well thought out bullshit. Like unlike Metal Gear Solid, where I felt that having the anti-war message mixed with the nonsense that series brings kind of seemed stupid. Like I don't know what word to use. It's felt wrong to be like, war is bad. Now here's a missile launcher and shoot this helicopter down. And if you're playing the Twin Snakes version, springboard off a missile. This is the most concise story he's told, and it's really fucking weird. Yeah, the game I think at the beginning is slow for sure, but there's interesting plot points, and it's not like you're doing nothing the entire time. It's not like you're doing random errands. I think you do a couple, but for the most part, you are always progressing the story. It's just very slow. But once the story sort of starts to speed up halfway, Ken, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say it's right. There's like a chapter where the shit kicks in.
Yeah, as soon as that happens, it is. If it isn't as fast as I think it is, it sure felt fast because I kept wanting to play it because, man, there's just so much to it, and it's so weird and philosophical in a way that I think people have always told me Kojima is. But it was hard to get over the fact that nanomachines were basically magic. Yeah, I don't know. I think about that game a lot.
I've not stopped thinking about that game since I beat it.
And he did his research. There's a part that like I didn't realize he was referring to actual things that have happened in the past. And once I found that out, I was like, oh fuck, that is really good. And that was like just recently I was listening to a totally unrelated podcast about the history of Earth, and I went, oh, I didn't realize there was that many of those. And that was the exact same number that he was using. And it's, I don't know, not only is it like a very personal story for the like character he's written, but it's this really fascinating take on humanity. I love that game. That game is something special. And the people that kind of shrug it off as, well, it's just walking back and forth. It's like, that is what it is early on, and there's stealth elements, but towards the end of that game, it basically just becomes the more recent version of Metal Gear Solid, where you can definitely just fight head on. You get your guns and everything. So, yeah, I love that game. It's probably one of my favorite games of, I guess, last generation now. just because of how weird and wonderful it was.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, I like that game more. It's a weird thing. It is a very weird thing because like if you describe what you do in that game mechanically to somebody, it sounds awful. But you just keep doing it.
And it works.
Yeah.
Micromanaging weight.
And the director's cut, I know this means nothing to nobody that didn't play it, but in the director's cut you can have the buddy robot, and I'm so fucking there for that.
Wait, the buddy robot that you could send out on missions?
Yeah, it actually comes with you now.
Oh my god. So there's a little... For people that don't play, eventually you can build these little robots that'll do deliveries for you. Only certain ones, like the side quest stuff. But it whistles a little tune when it leaves.
Yeah, so now you get to hear that tune as you're walking around.
Oh, that's great! It's just literally a platform, like a flat.
So
flat
did you not
surface
watch
with
the
legs.
trailer, Anthony?
No, I didn't watch the trailer because I can't play it.
Oh my god! So they're adding catapults.
Oh god!
So you could catapult your cargo.
No, that sounds like a bad idea.
It is a bad idea, but you know you would do it.
Yeah, the only other thing I have to add to my opinions on that game is that one, if you play that game for some reason you're listening to this and you haven't played it, you definitely should go back and watch the 2 trailers that came out before the game launch. The one where Norman Reedus is on the beach, and the other one where Guillermo del Toro is like going into the sewer with the baby in his hands, because those do have some payoff within the game. And 2, the use of music twice in that game hits hard. I remember the first time there was like a song in a specific moment, because there's music throughout that you can listen to. But the first time the song I recognized came on, and the use of it, I was like, holy shit. And then at the very end of the game, the last walk you do, and the music that plays through that is like heartbreakingly well done. It's man.
God, I can't wait to replay this game when this version comes out.
So this is only PlayStation,
Yeah, it's on PC.
right?
But
And
the
director's
director's
cut
cut
is
is
coming to PC?
only PlayStation
Yeah.
5.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Yeah, the director's cut is only PS5 as far as I know right now. It'll probably come to PC at some point, but you can play the original game on PC and PlayStation 4 or 5, so
Well, I have it on PS4, so
you should play it.
Oh man, just the first time you get into a fight with one of the monsters.
The BTs are genuinely creepy.
The nightmare scenario that starts happening as you're pulled in, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, it's so good! Everything in that game is so good.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I've asked this before, and I'm going to ask it one more time. Is every fucking weird ass thing in this game explained
Yes.
to where I will understand it?
Yep.
Not
Well, user mileage may vary.
I mean, I'm one of those people that sometimes need things explained to me in more detail. And
Yeah.
there were certainly things that I looked up afterwards, like, oh, okay, I kind of understood that, but I need a little more clarification. But when the thing rolls at the end and they start running through everything, I was like, okay, I get it.
Okay.
I get what you were doing. That's clever. That's clever. I like that. That's cool.
It's
But-
none of this. We injected everybody with nanomachines, and that's why everybody has powers.
No.
That's the reason why I was saying, like, I had an issue with Metal Gear Solid, because there's all this serious stuff that he actually is talking about that, you know, we should probably think about a little bit more. He's then throwing magic in. Like, you know, you forgive Psycho Mantis a bit because fuck it, the government did work with trying to make psychics and stuff, but then it's like Vamp. Fortune, I know she's wearing a thing, but it's dumb. It was very, this guy is a bomb expert, but he wears roller skates. It's like, all right. Every single piece of the game that I can think of right now of Death Stranding, like, they explain pretty much everything.
Yeah.
There's only one thing in that game that I look back upon and go, ugh. And that's the name of a character. And I'm like, that was so campy. Like, that doesn't fit in with this. Like, that is a Metal Gear Solid choice. That is not a choice for this game. It's too ham-fisted. But I mean, it's explained. It's just ham-fisted.
Right.
I literally said when I reviewed it, and I wasn't nearly as high on it then as I am now. Like, it's gotten better over time. But this is by far Kojima's most coherent story he's ever written.
Okay. I mean, I understand the story of Metal Gear.
How long is it?
Oh, it's long. It's I think I spent 40 hours in it.
Gotcha.
It's 40 hours to do, like, everything, though.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't have to. I mean, I didn't platinum the game, so I can't say everything. But for, like, doing all of the quests or whatever,
The deliveries.
the deliveries. It's like 40 hours. I'm sure it'd be like 60 to platinum it. I'm sure there's specific things I just didn't look into, but
You could probably mainline it in 25 to 30.
Okay.
You'd have to really kick into high gear. And I mean, there's that portion in the mountains.
The mountains is so... What's the word I'm looking for? It's like so defeating.
I think it's supposed to be, but
that's exactly what they were going for. But man, you felt it, especially when you're climbing up the snow mountains, like the really...
That's the ones I'm talking.
Yeah, like that whole sequence. But boy, does it end on a fucking
best snow effects in a video game.
Yeah, they're real good,
unmatched, and like
the over Red Dead Redemption 2, because those were really good.
Yeah, these are better.
Snow effects in Red Dead 2 are awesome.
These are better because I mean you have to physically work your way through it. Unlike Red Dead, like you're having to maintain your
you don't just
posture.
push. You don't just push forward.
Right.
Like there's mechanics to it.
That's when you realize that the zip lines really break that section.
Yeah, if you spend the time to build it. That's the other thing is like there's so many things you can build in that game to make that game more digestible, but you have to commit to spending the time to do that.
Yeah, like the road, man. When
I built a lot of road, baby.
The people, so the way it connected online, like people were helping build structures, and there's a point where I had we had built this road. These people I don't know. We had together built this road that went all the way from like the entrance to like the first like pit stop in like this one area. And it made that game so much easier just because I would drive the motorcycle, which doesn't lose power when it's on the road.
Yep.
And I would just drive that thing down the road, and it would make delivery so much easier. Oh, so good.
Just to keep me from like just logging into that game right now, and now that everybody's played it, everything's just built.
No,
well, it doesn't work because everything deteriorates over time.
What's that now?
Everything deteriorates. Like everything in the world has an expiration date. So if you build a road, there's acid rain. There's this rain that comes down.
Timefall.
Yeah, and it will deteriorate the road because it basically ages the road quicker.
Gotcha.
Yep. So it's meant to be played with people at the same time because if everything in there was just built, then yeah. Oh, I was just thinking about how like you can holler and hear other porters yell back at you too. I forgot. Hey!
I was thinking more of when you watch Timefall hit the ground and you see plants sprout out of the ground, grow fully, and then die.
Yeah.
That game is so fucking good.
That
The
game.
guys that had that time fall stuff. I did see that. I played probably about 2.5 hours of that game. I took. All right, I don't think it's a spoiler. I took the president and burned her.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. They explain all
Literally
of
the
that.
first mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first mission, and then I went back into town, and then that's where I stopped. I got that long cutscene with the dude with the mask, and I was like, "Yeah, this is definitely a Kojima game." And then I stopped.
By the way, that mask, I think, and now that you said that, that mask is like I think the only thing that's not really explained in the game.
Why is he wearing a mask?
Yeah, well, no, it's just the mask is worn by someone else at one point, and you're just like, why is this mask exist? And fuck you is why. It
Yeah.
looks cool. That's the only I was saying like that's the only Kojima character in this game, like the Kojima-ass Kojima character,
What's his name?
Die Hardman.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Hardman. Yeah,
And
that's
they
right.
explain
Yeah,
why he's
and-
named that too, by the way. Just
Oh
Yeah.
they do. They
He
do,
really
Ken.
likes the movie.
Yeah,
that game. I can't wait to play that game again.
that game is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's really good.
And like I know I made it very clear that I have issues with Kojima, but that game, goddamn man, it's me in the feels.
I mean, maybe we'll do it for Phoenix Down. I don't know.
Drew, you will fall in love with that game.
2 hours of played of it, I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's not.
Yeah,
Oh,
let me
you
tell
gotta
you
get
right
further. You gotta get further than that.
now, when you start unlocking like the ability to make motorcycles and the trucks never really work unless there's a road, but the motorcycles or the little robots that whistle the tune, which is so stupid and I love it.
Make sure you upgrade your body skeletons. Those are
Oh, the body skeleton that allows you to run faster.
yeah.
Oh, there's so much good. And then you run into the what are the ex-delivery men called? Do you remember, Ken?
I don't remember the exact name of them, but I know what you're talking about.
Package men or whatever the fuck they're called. That they steal mail just because that's all they know.
And you can hang out with Jeff Keighley and Conan O'Brien.
Right.
Yeah, but only
Those
Conan
were two.
O'Brien's voiced by himself.
Yeah, Keighley's not voiced by himself, which is really disorienting when you meet him.
Keely isn't. Junji Ito isn't. Oh man, there's so many people that when you look at them, you're like, I know that person. Neither is was it Jordan Voight Roberts, the guy that's directing the Metal Gear Solid movie?
Oh yeah.
Whenever that actually happens and he stops
Man,
fanboying out of
I sit here talking about this game. I think about deliveries I made, like the married couple delivery. God, that mission was so good. Oh. All right, we need to move on. Drew, you need to play that game.
No, I understand that. My thing is like there's so many Kojima things in it that like I'm over them now.
They're all
Him
They're all-
drinking only Monster energy drink.
that disappears eventually.
Yeah, that becomes fades in the background. All right, we got a couple tweets, then we'll get out of here. Mookie says, I gotta agree with Drew here. Five Guys is good, but it's overpriced. I can make my own and save more than half the cost, but I still love Five Guys, but not as much as Burger Fuel.
Burger Fuel.
I don't know what that is.
Never even heard of your burger fuel.
It's got a
Oh,
Twitter
neither.
account. Let me bring it up. This is official Burger Fuel Twitter page. It's a restaurant. There's a picture of it here. I don't know. Burger Fuel. I would
Interesting.
try it. I love me a good burger.
Me too.
Shogun Beat says the rumor is that Microsoft is still looking at buying NetherRealm Studio. I got upset because I don't want Mortal Kombat to be exclusive, but then I thought about it. Sony made the last Street Fighter exclusive and added nothing of value. This exclusive war is stupid. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I was going to report on this rumor, but then I saw WB made a statement saying that it was not true. So, which I'm glad, because I don't want Mortal Kombat to be exclusive to any console. I don't care what it is. So, yeah, the rumor was floating around that they were shopping around TT Games and NetherRealm Studios, and Microsoft was in talks to purchase them. So,
Chase.
Purchase. Keep Mortal Kombat Multiplat, and King of Fighters, props to you. 14 was exclusive to PlayStation, now it's on everything. And please, Capcom, make Street Fighter 6 on everything.
Yeah.
His last tweet says, have you guys seen Black Widow yet? No spoilers, but I think the Marvel magic is starting to disappear.
Ooh. No, I haven't. We did finish up The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was a rather boring series until the end.
Yeah.
And we just started Loki.
Loki's very boring.
I like Loki, actually.
Really? I find it so just kind of boring.
I really like the whole time traveling aspect of it.
Oh. I don't know. I have not got into Loki. I heard this latest episode, which fucking hilarious. It's the penultimate. There's only one more left.
Yeah.
It was actually really good. I liked WandaVision. I thought that was good.
I didn't mind WandaVision. I thought it was fine. I mean, I know me and you has talked about it. If you want to watch a comic book TV show, check out Sweet Tooth. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it took me forever to get you to watch that. It's so fucking good.
I couldn't convince my wife to watch it. She said because the kid looked creepy.
He does look creepy, but man, that show is so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can't wait for season 2 of that. I'm invested as hell into that show.
Is it going to have a season 2? Because you saw into Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, no. Netflix is fickle about their things, but I after that ending, I really need a season 2.
Yeah.
I watched that Resident Evil thing. Did you watch that?
No.
No, it's okay.
Do you? I mean, is it just kind of like a standalone thing? Or?
Yeah, it's 4 episodes, like 2 hours. Basically, should have just been a movie.
Yeah.
So, I have not seen Black Widow,
No.
but I have heard kind of the same scuttlebutt online that it's not great.
How do they go from here? How do they really go from here? Because I feel like they've had really good success with their TV shows.
Their TV shows have been better ways to convey the story, I think, in some aspects, because if you think about it, you've gotten a ton of content in the span of 6 months, whereas the Marvel movies, God, what are those now? How long did it take to complete that Avengers phase?
10 years?
10 years, something
That's a
like that.
long time to invest.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're not going to get that many blockbuster movies with the Marvel stuff much anymore.
Well, I mean, until they bring in the big guns.
Well, what are the big guns? That's my
X-Men.
problem. So they're going to straight up just bring in X-Men into the Marvel universe?
I mean, they've got them now, so why wouldn't they?
They
Yeah,
will,
but-
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how? How would they even do that?
Well, I
Do
mean,
another origin story?
you don't have to necessarily do an origin story, but I mean, no spoilers. Comic books, Magneto's kids are in the Marvel universe.
It's true, but they've already confirmed that they aren't mutants.
Well, I mean, they
Just gonna
had to
retcon it?
because they own the word.
Yeah. But I mean, are they just going to retcon that?
I mean, if you're going to bring them in.
they've changed
Well, to be-
actors on certain characters, so
Yeah, and to be fair, didn't they make those 2 characters specifically not mutants in the comics too, somewhat recently?
Did they?
I think they did.
Yeah.
Because don't they have like the thing going on in the comics right now where they have the island or whatever it is that's for mutants? I can't remember
With
the name
with
of
the
it.
doctor, and his last name is Monroe.
Morrow. If you're going to make the
Morrow,
joke,
and
get it
no.
right.
I don't know. I'm probably talking out of my ass.
I don't know.
about it like halfway, so I might as well just shut up about it because I don't know.
I'm very interested to see how this next phase of Marvel goes because a lot of it is uninteresting to me. But to be fair, when they announced they were doing like the Avengers and Thor back in the day, I wasn't really interested in that either.
Yeah.
But it turned out really good. So
I think part of their issue right now is that, one, they have to almost start with a completely new set of characters, and they want to keep the flow going of, well, you love our characters, but it's like, but you need to make us love these characters. Like, who gave a shit about Iron Man?
Back
Really?
when it came
I-
out,
you-
nobody. But
Exactly.
I did.
They,
well, sure, but you're a Marvel
I
fan.
did.
Yeah.
yeah, but he wasn't like top tier. He was an asshole in the comics. Like by that point, he had already wanted to. Oh God, what is it? Civil War. He wanted to do the mutant
Registration program.
registration
Yeah, he was on
program.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, like, he was an asshole, and it wasn't like he was the hero and stuff, and they barely touched upon that in the movies, and I'm not upset about that. He wasn't the same person in the movies, but they made you like that character. They somehow they managed to do that with Thor too. Like, all these characters that weren't their top tier characters at Marvel. Because they didn't have X-Men, they didn't have Fantastic Four, and they didn't have Spider-Man. And they made you love these characters as much as Spider-Man, as much as, well, Fantastic Four has kind of dropped off, but as much as X-Men. And I feel like now they're just like, well, you like these characters because they were standing next to the characters you loved. And it's like, that's not how you got here in the first place. You really have to justify why these characters are great on their own. I think that's part of the reason why, and I mean, part of it's just pure sexism, but why people didn't fall in love with Captain Marvel the same way, because it's just like, well, she's been integrated the whole time, and it's like,
Not really.
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways to make this character feel important without, having her importance tied to events that are currently going on. And I don't know. It's just, I understand why they had to introduce Spider-Man that way, but
I will
how
say
they're
that
handling it's kind of poor.
I will say that the next Marvel TV show that they're doing, I'm 100% on board with.
Is that What If?
What if? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
I
awesome.
always loved What If comics though. So
Isn't fucking Howard the Duck one of the episodes?
Yes.
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 That's why I'm
That
in
makes-
100%.
that makes
Because
his
it's Howard
second
the
or
Duck.
third
I
appearance.
fucking love Howard the Duck. Don't you come at me, bro. He's made 3 cameos in the Marvel
3
movies.
cameos. Yeah.
And every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, Howard the Duck.
Apparently, What If Chadwick Boseman actually voiced that part? That was the last thing he did.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to care about the Marvel movies, but I'm very interested to see how this next phase goes, because, I mean, obviously it's got Blade in it, but I feel weird Blade being not R-rated.
I was gonna say anyone but Wesley Snipes.
Also anyone but Wesley Snipes, but the guy they got playing him is excellent.
What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce his name. You'd know him if you saw him. He's been in a ton of stuff.
I'll look him up.
Yeah, he's really, really good though. Like everything I've seen him in is really, really good. But like a lot of the other stuff they're doing in the next phase, not being a Marvel person, I have very little interest in it. But like I said, I didn't have a ton of interest in the Avengers until these movies came out. So,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
what's his name?
Don't make me pronounce that.
Okay, sorry. I know that's why I feel bad. I'm like, I don't want to say his name because I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Mahershala Ali?
Shala Ali.
Yeah. Wasn't he in Luke Cage?
Yes, that's right. He was
Copperhead, or what was the
Cottonmouth.
Cottonmouth? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, he's a wonderful actor.
What are they ever doing with those characters?
Nothing.
Yeah,
They might bring the characters back, but that has nothing to do with this now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't I hear that the Daredevil character is going to make an appearance in? Is it the new Spider-Man? Maybe.
From
They're
my
doing
understanding,
they're doing multiverse in that, so yeah.
Yeah.
from my understanding, he might appear, but like it's not necessarily the same one either. It's weird.
I mean, we're there now because Keaton's gonna appear in the Flash movie. Fucking both Spider-Mans, I guess, are gonna be in the next Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
Such
Yeah,
a weird thing, man.
I'm still waiting for that to
Both
actually be
Spider-Mans.
confirmed.
What?
Which Spider-Mans are going to be
Andrew
showing up?
Garfield and
Andrew
Tobey
Garfield
Maguire.
and- yeah, Tobey Maguire.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing the. I mean, have you caught up on the Spider-Man movies?
I am not. I haven't seen any of them.
Okay. Yeah, you'll understand why when you see those movies, but yeah.
I noticed that there are things happening in Loki that could possibly have a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, Loki kind of builds off of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
like all of that stuff is intertwined. So
Yeah. Okay. I'm all right. Let's do this.
I mean, I'll watch them when they hit Disney Plus. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I've been there since the beginning. I saw the first Iron Man in the theater. You know, like I'm there.
I don't know. I just really wish they could get their act together with DC and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, the last 3 or so DC movies have been really good, and I hope they kind of continue that path.
Well, you
And-
got Suicide Squad, what, next month?
Yeah, Suicide Squad's in August, and then I think Shazam and Black Adam and The Flash are next, and they're filming Aquaman 2. So
Just don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
You guys, does anybody on this show watch the Harley Quinn show?
I watched the first season, I
I've
think.
been meaning to.
I saw some
No.
clips of Bane from that show, and it seems hilarious.
Oh, he's
So,
absolutely the best thing about that show. Him and King
My-
Shark.
I've seen the sequence where she picks up the ray gun and shoots it at a guy, and it's a cancer ray. Why would that even be made?
That show is
He's like, I'm just going to go home and spend time with my family, and he just puts down his gun and leaves.
the shows that they've done, what that they did for the DCU were really good. Harley Quinn's really good. Titans is excellent. If you haven't seen that, it's now on HBO Max, Drew, so you should watch that. And Doom Patrol was really good. Swamp Thing was not good.
It didn't last.
No, it died, and there's a reason for it. But Titans is by far my favorite. Like, that show is really good. And season 3 is coming up soon. I'm excited because they introduced. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
They introduced a new character at the end of season 2.
Good guy or villain?
Good guy.
Okay.
Once they explained why Starfire looked like she did, like the actual outfit, I was fine with it. But boy, before that show came out, I was like, what did they do to this character?
Yeah, they made her look like a cheap hooker.
And she
or
ends up
something.
being my favorite character.
She's a great character. She really is.
Fuck, that worst picture to ever release.
Yep. Anyway, that's it for this week. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm hoping that since the DVD releases on Tuesday, I'm hoping the Mortal Kombat makes its way back to HBO Max this week.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I've
I
been.
didn't get to watch it.
I've been like, I know that it's overpriced right now because I'm going to buy it to own digitally, but it took so much willpower not to pay the $25 for it for the past couple weeks because it's got deleted scenes and director commentary on iTunes, and I'm like, I want to watch that shit, but I know that it's going to be down to like $15 in a couple weeks. I just need to wait.
Well, the thing I read said that it was coming back to HBO Max after the DVD released, but it didn't say when. So I'm hoping
It'll be within a month.
right after.
It'll be within a month because that's when Wonder Woman came back to HBO Max.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, because I didn't get to see it. So
Oh, I liked it. I know a lot of people had issues with it, but I'm like, dude, you do realize the source material, right? It's supposed to be this fucking stupid. All right. That's it for this week. If you want to send us emails, it's podcasts@ztgd.com. If you'd like to send us some tweets, it's @N4G Podcast on Twitter. You can follow all of us. I am at ZTGD. Ryan is at Wombat RP. Drew is at DML Fury. And Anthony is at Complacent Robot. You can also check out Phoenix Down, starting Yakuza Kiwami 2 next week.
Yep.
So check that show out as well. But unless anybody has anything else, we'll get out of here. Here's Bertrand.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail. to the N4G podcast.
It's me, Mario.
Zero Solid.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
I always live being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.